All right, I've got 7.5 minutes, I discovered, because I already tried filming this twice. First time I couldn't get the camera to stay in place because, well, and the camera's a shitty old iPhone. And the second time was because I ran out of time. So, let's get to it. I'm doing a lot better than my last video. My last video, I was just honestly really crushed and feeling like an ocean's worth of pressure on me from life. And feeling really fucked over, and, I mean, kinda was a little bit. But I ended up moving my shit out of my ex's place today, and that went really well. It turns out that they don't hate me like it seemed they did, and I thought they would be totally justified to hate me and not want anything to do with me. Like, love can only go so far, and caring about someone close to you can only go so far, and I thought I'd crossed the line of no return. Maybe I did. No one's to really fucking say, because we haven't had the time to really, like, make an honest judgment about things. You can't say anything like a few weeks after it happens. You gotta chew on things for a few months to get like a real good perspective. And yeah, I got my shit out of there. I got to cuddle my cat, which was really nice. And we made plans to check in a couple months to see where we're at and if we're prepared to be involved in each other's lives again. Though, outside of that, I still am going to be able to go see my cat. It still crushes me that I don't get to live with him, and honestly, I'm still heartbroken. And my ex told me, like, so are you getting a cat? And I'm like, I can't. I lost the kittens because we had to rehome our kittens. And now I've lost Ritz. I can't do that to myself again. And they just looked so sad and like, but in like the withdrawn way of like, oh, which, you know, I hate to say it, but those negative feelings on their face made me feel better. It meant that they gave a fuck about me and gave a fuck about what I'm going through, which is something I didn't think was happening. They sure weren't acting like it. But yeah, it turns out they were hardballing me so hard about getting my money because they didn't know so many housing situations had fallen through for me and how just severely fucked in life I am right now. But at the same time, for the last 5 months, I haven't known where the line between like just complaining and informing someone of negative things is. And I didn't want to take that chance because I didn't want to like, and even if it were entirely okay, I couldn't count on their perceptions to see things the way they are because they've been colored with anger, like quite, to the point where they would sit down for a discussion and my reasonable actions were seen as unreasonable and unstable. And I hate to say that, but you know what? Asking what can I do to make you feel better because you said this makes you uncomfortable is not an unreasonable action. I found out that they watched the first few minutes of my videos, and, you know, that's a thing I have to live with now, because I've been just opening my mouth and speaking my mind in the way that feels best to me, but I guess I'm still a bit sore about that. Again, why a few months is good, because they're not the only one that needs space. I've been compromising on little things to try and preserve my situation. Now I get to have those little things back. Little freedoms, little opportunities, little choices I get to make for myself without taking someone else's needs into consideration and me being me, ending up conceding in a way that was way more in their favor and crippling myself. I feel better. They don't hate me. I was so certain they hated me. Everything I heard or read from them gave me that impression. It was like they didn't give a fuck about me. You heard this. If you're like watching all my videos all the way through, you've heard this before. And it's just such a relief. And that they're open to like being involved at all, like even if it's just friends, even if we never got back together. Though the prospect hurts me now, honestly, I care about them. And love can live in many forms. If it can't, it wasn't entirely love. If you can't love someone as a friend, maybe there's a problem with the love in the first place. And I'm really excited to build my life to what I need and what I want, to be exactly what I deserve in my life. It turns out that that house that turned out to be really shitty is actually going to be improving really soon because the toxic person was the caretaker, and that's a very temporary thing. And one of the people interested in taking on caretaking responsibilities asked me about it, and I was like, I have limited experience with caretaking, but I have the applicable skills. And she was like, great, we could work together on that. What do you bring to the table? And I suggested a few things I know I could do that were relevant. And I'm going to be Googling how to be a good caretaker just to make sure I go in ready rather than walking in like, I'm going to caretake. And they're like, okay, what now, boss? And it's like, fuck, I'm not prepared because I don't want to go into that kind of situation prepared. But I've also got a place to stay after March because my friend can't have me here. She needs her own space. She's had like roommate situations that just didn't work out, and she needs to have her own space. And she's enjoyed having me here, and she thinks she'll miss me. But that doesn't negate your need for your own space. Wish I'd fucking heard that a year ago. Maybe things would be different. But yeah. But a friend of mine that I've recently reconnected with, his dad used to have a rooming house and he would rent to a lot of people, especially a lot of people on EIA. Turns out he can't do that anymore because he was renting to too many people or some shit. But he's offered to let me stay there for free because he is a nice guy and he really does want to help people. He's also a bit of an alcoholic. But I was prepared to like get receipts for rent and shit. Now that won't be necessary. I'll just have somewhere to stay while I figure things out with that other house. Because it turns out, even though things are going to get better, I can't move in until someone else moves out. Not even the person whose room I would be getting, but someone else who's all of a sudden gotten antsy about new people. And she was gonna move out like this month or next month, and then she backed out last minute. So who fucking knows? But I'm really interested in moving into that situation unless something like perfect comes along. But I'm just glad I have housing now. I still don't get rent, and wherever I would live wouldn't take all my rent check. So that would have been extra money in my pocket for food, travel, living, and all, buying things I need. But I'm prepared to work with what I've got. Like, I've got housing going forth. I'll just move from one place to another, and then hopefully from there into a long-term housing situation. And that's so exciting. It's honestly such a relief. Things are actually more okay than I thought, more okay than life had led me to believe. And it feels good. Though apparently I'm getting really thin and I have been barely eating. Like, I feel my ribs way too easily, and like my ribs have been becoming visible, which isn't very good. Like, the lighting's really bad for that, but like I look at it in the mirror and it freaks me out. And like, I went to hug my ex and they said it was okay, and they wrapped their arms around me and they said, "You're too skinny. You're too thin." And I reassured them I'll eat soon, and it was good. Things are good now. I'm about to run out of memory power, but yeah, I'm in a good place, and I actually can do it now. So, yay. Bye.